guys, how's it going? Welcome to answering your questions before the sun sets. We really wanted to have this beautiful backdrop because this is like one of the main reasons we live where we live. Just
so I asked
incredible.
You on our YouTube and also on our Instagram about any questions to do with wellness, healthy living, healthy eating, fitness, all of those types of questions, because you guys you actually have been asking for this Q&A.
Absolutely.
So here we are.
First question: how do you find the healthiest food for your gut/body out of everything in the shop? P.S. Thank you guys for your hard work this month and in general. Thank you. So how do we find the healthiest food in the shop?
Well, when you go into the shop, go straight to the fresh produce aisles and look for organic foods. I feel like ignore...
basically real food the way nature made it.
Ignore all the packaged foods, all like those shiny packets and thing. A lot of that is just ultra processed and that's not good for your body. It has no nutrients in it. So if you want to nourish your body, go to where all the nutrients are, and that is probably going to be mainly in the fresh produce aisle. But also sometimes in shops they do have organic free from aisles. No, not everything in that aisle is ideal because it can be ultra processed too, just because something's gluten free or vegan. But sometimes they'll have good things like
or even organic. You can get organic biscuits and stuff,
exactly.
So
but usually in those aisles I will look as
good.
well, and they will have like like a coconut sugar and maple syrup, natural sweeteners, or they'll have like buckwheat flours, things like that.
On that note, sorry to cut you off, but on that note, just in terms of like choosing natural foods, some people say also to go for foods which only existed like 150 years ago, 200 years ago even, like then they haven't been tampered with, don't you?
I mean, we've been there, especially when we first went vegan, actually. We were like, oh, wow, all of these like vegan things, especially when more and more vegan things came out, and we were like, wow, so good. But we just actually started to notice we didn't feel as good.
Yeah, we did made a video for our 13 years vegan Q&A. Long story short, that video basically just says we started off eating healthy, then we started eating anything what was vegan, became not so healthy, and then we started actually eating real foods
But
again.
most shops nowadays all over the world, they have some amazing like aisles now and sections in the shop, and they have really good like eat locally and organically where possible. And if you can, maybe try and find a little organic bakers or a farmer's market where they'll have like nice like freshly made produce. But supermarkets are great.
If you wanted to actually look on like a ranking of what food is the most healthiest, then you can go to a website called nutritionfacts.org, and also he's got several books, the most recent of which is How Not to Age, which is more about biohacking and longevity by using natural plant-based foods. What are some quick and easy healthy breakfast ideas that you like from a person who doesn't have time to eat breakfast?
Well, if you have a bit of time the evening before, you could prepare some like chia pudding or overnight oats. Loads of recipes and blogs online which will have plant-based options of these. But what we like to have in the morning is either smoothies or a yogurt bowl, and that is so quick.
But how are we saying that if you don't have time to eat breakfast, then you don't have time to eat breakfast?
On the days where we don't have
earlier.
time, like if we're going to travel and we really don't have time, we'll have like an organic protein bar, and sometimes like you can grab a pot of fruit from like a shop, or you can grab a smoothie.
If we're going out, I will grab a bunch of bananas and 2 protein bars.
That's so
like
practical.
that's my go-to. So I just like while we're driving or while we're walking, I just eat a bunch of bananas and then finish it off with 2 protein bars.
Or like loads of nuts and things like that. But I feel like you have like if you want to eat healthy and look after your body, you just have to dedicate a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be a long time, but just a little bit of time. But you'll be surprised at how quick actually preparing healthy food is.
Next question, solely for you. What makeup and skincare brand and product do you recommend? Me and my mum are doing the same as you guys. You inspired us to be healthy.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
You.
That honestly makes my heart feel so warm. I really love the brand Live and Libations. It's Canadian and you can get it all over the world. The lady who owns that brand, she's got such good pure intentions, and it's actually the purest skincare brand I've ever found. I use a lot of their oils and things like that on there. Also 100% pure is amazing. You can get that on lots of health sites like Naturissimo and things like that. But
those are the things that we put on our website.
But we've actually got them on our website.
Yeah,
so if you want to go on there,
glowinghealthy.com.
look in the health and beauty section, the beauty and hair section, and you'll see all my favourite products on there. But also, guys, I actually just really love simple skincare, like 100% organic cold pressed castor oil, which is on our site as well, and like coconut oil. You'll be surprised. I've really cleaned up my skincare the last 6 months. I mean, I've always kind of been into clean skincare, but the last 6 months I've cleaned up, because I used to even use all things like hyaluronic acid, things like that, and then I just learned so much about it, and then I've just like I just feel like my skin.
Pros versus cons.
Me and Mia both have, and my skin has never been.
You want to
as
use
good.
things what doesn't have any potential negatives to it.
Yeah, so just check my section out on the website, and then you can see what.
That's our new website, by the way, guys, which we just launched, glowinghealthy.com. We made a video about it previously, so you can go and check that out. Otherwise, just go to glowinghealthy.com, and if there's anything missing from the website, let us know, and we'll add it, because we're just adding everything that we love and use that has stuck over the last decade of our journey into health and fitness.
Yeah, and if I ever discover any new like products, I'll keep on adding it to the site as well.
Do you guys ever get ill, or because of your lifestyle change, is this a rarity? What is one thing you'd recommend to do every day which prevents illness?
I don't think we do.
So not really.
No, we don't.
The point, like, it depends what we're defining as ill. Like, do you get a bit of a sore throat? Do you get a bit of a runny nose? Kind of sometimes, but very rare.
I mean, when I was
But the point is,
breastfeeding a little bit more,
it
wasn't
never
I?
goes into something. I mean, like, you just got really chapped lips the other day when we,
Yeah.
like, from the basically going in the sun
But after a couple of days,
and the snow.
healed so quickly.
Yeah, it's just healed
wow.
so quick.
Whereas in the past, when I first met Darren and when we first like got together, every year or twice a year, I would get bedbound with a flu, and like even when even in the first couple of years, even when we were vegan, I would like every year we'd get like a sickness bug. We never ever get those. Like we haven't had like a flu or a sickness bug for like years and years.
What is one... Right, so is it a rarity because of our lifestyle
Yeah,
changes?
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, just night and day difference. Absolute transformation. Like, we never have to have that thing where we just... it's not in our reality just because we feel so
No.
good. But in terms of what is one thing, I mean, I don't think there is... That's the thing.
No, but there is one thing.
Well, there is. I know
Sleep.
what you're going to say,
Yeah,
sleep, right?
sleep.
We'd say sleep, but the thing
Yeah.
is, if there's still loads of other things that you're doing, because it's like this balance of stressors and toxins. So your body is a self-healing organism. Obviously, if you get a cut, it heals itself. It's like magic. It is always working to keep itself in an optimal condition. But it's just the balance between how many stressors and toxins you've got coming in versus how well you're treating yourself to try to mitigate that. So obviously there's fumes in the air, there's electromagnetic radiation, there's chemicals in food, there's bad emotions and energy even. Like if you're feeling really stressed, if you've, I don't know, going through like bereavement or something, like that can make you ill in itself because it kind of triggers a sort of detox symptom in your body. So one thing would definitely be sleep.
Because that can help everything be a lot more manageable.
I don't think that you can just do sleep and then like live off microwave meals and
drink loads of coffee.
yeah, all
like,
that's like coffee is like borrowed energy from the future. Alcohol is like borrowed happiness from the future. So it's like there's so many elements. But yeah, the biggest, like, I'll say bang for your buck, even though it's free, is sleep. Sleep over any product, sleep over vitamin C, sleep over, you know, herbal teas, whatever it is, sleep. And I know that sounds really boring, but it shouldn't.
Works.
You should like really realize, because obviously our body's a self-healing organism, and it does that while we sleep. It's working on everything while we're sleeping. So
yeah, I mean, when I was
that's why it's so
breastfeeding
important.
and I wasn't able to sleep as much, I had to like stop doing like heavy workouts. I couldn't drink coffee. I did start like feeling like a little bit run down then because I wasn't getting good enough sleep. So if you're going for a stressful period or you start to feel like you're perhaps about to get a bit run down, we do recommend vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C. That can help like nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
And then like what I said, like if I'm starting to feel a bit like I'm getting a tickly throat, I'll just like look at what I'm doing and like just assess what things am I doing which perhaps like making my body get a bit out of balance.
Or take it more easy, because it's
take
kind
it
of like
easy, yeah.
you're getting feedback from your body, and I think all of us, especially in the modern world, like we just ignore the feedback that we get from our bodies, and we really shouldn't be doing that. So optimize your sleep environment. I'd say that is the one thing. So as in actually have a rigid bedtime that you're going to sleep so that you can wake up without an alarm. Whatever time you have to be up for school, work, etc., do so where you wake up in plenty of time without an alarm, because your body has only had enough sleep, what it needs, when you wake up naturally. So you want to get rid of all lights in the room, all frequencies in the room, all noises in the room. So obviously like eye mask, earplugs, switch off your Wi-Fi, switch off your phone, you know, as much as you can do
make a bed,
to not be
nighttime
disturbed in your
routine.
sleep.
You might get to see a few little things in that. But like once you start getting good sleep, then you'll realise like, wow, I feel so good. Like once you start getting into the habit of it, you'll never look back.
You'll eat better, your emotions will feel better. Like it's really, when you start getting quite far into it, then you become quite fine-tuned, and then we'll be like, we will notice negative effects
the next day is
from
affected.
not having enough sleep.
The next day is affected by every decision you make.
Like
will
trying
be
to
made
sleep on a plane, for instance. If you have an overnight flight and you try and sleep on a plane, like it affects so much the next day. You feel like you want loads of sugar, you want coffee, You're irritable, you might argue, like there's so much.
You might not feel like doing any movement, any exercise, you just want to lounge around. And like imagine just chronic sleep deprivation, how that can affect the rest of your life. It's literally really, really important to like address your sleep over anything else. No pills or potions, just good old fashioned sleep.
How did you get to the mentally positive place you're at now? Did it take a lot of work? Did you implement anything specific? Absolutely, it took a lot of work, like a decade of work.
And the work never ends. You constantly have to work on yourself. You can't, because if not, you'll just regress again.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of, did you implement anything specific? I mean, we made sure to just focus on things that are taking us towards future goals. So it was a lot of reading personal development things, listening to personal development audio books, the old-fashioned ones especially.
The classic ones.
Yeah, I just feel like they're really straight talking. They're not all this like sugar-coated sort of stuff the way things are nowadays. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of like soft talk nowadays, which fair enough, maybe it suits some people, but it doesn't suit us. And I think getting told like it's okay to feel terrible, and like, no, it's not. It's not okay.
It's not normal.
Like,
it's not
don't
normal.
accept it. Listen to the teachings from like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years ago, where people were more straight talking and they actually tell it as it is. And they would say things like, okay, if you feel rubbish, you're getting feedback from your body, so therefore do something about it.
I feel like people now are told that, like, obviously we're going to feel emotions. Like, we still feel emotions. It's normal to feel anxious or depressed or sad or angry or worried, but it's chronically feeling those. That is not normal. That is not who you are. That's just an emotion. It's just a feeling. It's feedback from your body. It's not an identity. And I feel like people are quite drawn to identities now. And I think we had to accept as well that we were at fault and we were responsible for our own reality. And I think having that responsibility. Absolutely. And I think we realized that we didn't want to be victims anymore of our own like choices and decisions and thoughts, and we had to like kind of take ownership of that. And there are some great things that you can do to help you overcome that, and one of them is what you said, getting loads of positive input, like reading books and listening to podcasts, listen to other motivational people, look at people who are at a higher level, look at people who are at a place that you want to be in life and just copy them. And number two, start like some kind of physical or fitness goal.
So
I think
you feel good
physical
about, you
greatness,
feel accomplished. You feel like you're achieving
that
things.
gives you so much confidence. So we started running, didn't we? That really, really helped. And then I think nature.
I think the expression
Nature's
as well.
healing, isn't it?
I had it a second ago because you were talking and then I didn't want to interrupt you.
Sorry, Darren.
It'll come back to me in a minute. But yeah, so as well as adding in the positives, it's removing negatives as well. So there's things where we were like, how do we like assess how you feel after it? So eat a takeaway, assess how you feel like an hour later or the next morning. Watch the news, assess how you feel an hour later. Are you replaying those stories in your head? Read the newspaper. Is it making you feel good or making you feel bad? Do you feel positive about the world or negative about the world? And so we were just like, the things which are not benefiting us, which are not helping us actually turn our lives around, remove them.
Yeah, so such as, I used to read loads of gossip magazines when I first met you. I got rid of them. I also, we also stopped watching the news and like horrible films, things that like felt like it was regressive.
Yeah. I love your lifestyle and I definitely want to implement more healthy choices in mine. How do you guys stay consistent? Oh, we've got a bumblebee coming. Look at this.
It's probably because I've got like essential flower oils on me.
Yeah, look, he's just coming to say
little
hi.
Buzzy bumblebee. Oh, he's gone now.
I used to be really scared of bees, but I don't know, I quite love them now. Yeah.
Oh.
So how do you guys stay consistent? I mean, have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you become part of someone else's plan.
Yeah.
So
write everything down.
Yeah, we write things down. We maybe will use habit trackers to make sure that we do like, I don't know, I've got stuff like an ongoing thing on a habit app, which is water the plants every day, do exercise every day, go for a walk every day.
Also, I'm going to bring back sleeping with that. Like, if you have consistent good sleep, then like the rest of the day is actually really easy to plot out. Yeah. It's going to be more predictable because I just know if we go to bed late or I've got woken up loads in the night, I just know the next day is going to feel harder, and then I'm not going to like push myself as much.
Set the tone from the moment you wake up as well, because once you do something, then you feel like doing more of that something. So for instance, if you move in the morning, like walk, run, trampoline, lift some weights, whatever it is, it actually then makes you more active for the rest of the day. Whereas if you start off and you're like, I'm going to check emails, I'm going to check texts, I'm just going to lay here and like check this stuff.
Yeah, I always
that
feel like,
sets the tone, and then you actually feel lazy for the
That's
rest of the day.
happened to me. Like if I've like had to
Then
check my
harder
phone
if you
for
want to
whatever
exercise
reason.
later.
Yeah, if I look at my phone first thing, that does actually make my brain go into some weird state, and that it's
like
really
even
weird,
if say like your gym time is going to be 7 p.m. after work, for instance, I still think try to do like 3 minutes of trampolining when you first wake up or whatever it is, just because it like tells your mind and body I'm the type of person who moves a lot, and then that carries on throughout the rest of your day.
One book that I highly recommend is Atomic Habits by James Clear. That is also on our site in the book section. That book is incredible. I love it so much. So I definitely recommend that one for like some like ideas of how to be consistent.
How to spend less time on screens. Also, how Mia does it as a young adult. Do you only use it for work? Do you track your time? I mean, these phones have the screen time trackers on anyway. But no, I personally don't track my time because things go in cycles. Sometimes, like we've just been putting the website together, that obviously meant a lot more screen time. So there's just different flows. But as a general rule, like, do you use it for work? Yeah, absolutely. There's, I guess I listen to audiobooks, I listen to podcasts, but I wouldn't class that as screen time because you put something on and you don't look at the screen. You're just listening. So for me, like actually looking at a screen, most books I read are physical. If I can only get it as a Kindle, then we have the Daylight Co. tablet, which is no blue light and no flicker.
I mean, you set your phone up as well, so for
This
me,
is
for
Georgie's
instance,
phone, by the way.
I used to be in the habit of like, I'm checking my phone for work, but then like I was just kept looking at my phone, and I realised it's for dopamine hits. Even just checking my emails and things like that, even if it is for work, it doesn't still mean that like it's necessary.
Yeah.
So when I first wake up in the morning, at least for the first hour, I don't look at my screen. It's really good for your hormones to not do that.
So again, that thing of like the stuff you do when you first wake up, that's what you're telling yourself. You're the type of person who does that stuff, so it sets
So when
the
I
tone.
first wake up, I get outside. So in the first hour of waking up, you're meant to go outside and get at least 10 to 15 minutes of light exposure.
I mean, the more light you can get every day, the better.
That helps set your circadian rhythm. And there's like been loads of studies to show that people didn't even change their diet, like how many calories they ate, and they lost loads of weight from just going outside. So my point of that is it helps balance your hormones.
By the way, that is going to be an emerging health trend coming up. So I stay quite on the ball with things like that.
It's a massive thing at the
there
minute.
isn't like, we think about red light therapy as being really incredible. There's lots of other different light spectrums which are being shown to do so much in people's bodies. But ultimately, we have it actually for free in the sky every day, and it's just the sun.
Like sleep, sunlight, it's incredible. And then I don't look at a phone for at least 1 hour before bed. They are my two, right? I mean, sometimes there might be an emergency, like I have to check to see if if my appointment, like I have to confirm an appointment, like, but I really try and make sure that in the first hour of the day that I like allow myself that treat of not looking at a screen before bed or first thing in the morning. So I definitely don't do any scrolling on TikTok or anything before bed. And then in the daytime, I really try not to look at my phone or go on a screen, especially around the children, because I want to set a good example to them. I don't, because they will think that is normal for humans just to be staring at this thing. And
I find that so depressing.
It's really, it upsets me as well.
Sometimes, I don't know, we'll be in restaurants and there's just like the baby sat there just holding a phone, and like
it's going to be so bad for their brains and
really
development.
upsetting.
It really stunts their growth. And I've noticed, like Kara and Karma, if they sometimes spend some time staring at a screen afterwards, they're really like irritated, and they like
bear in mind our screens as well will be like where the lighting has changed, so it's softer on the eyes. They're always in airplane mode, and we only use the internet with a cable, etc., etc. So it's actually less bad than what a like standard phone would be as well, but it still has its
over the last
negatives.
like 5 years especially. I'm quite an observer person. I like looking around and observing what is going on in my life and like analysing things. And I've just noticed that screens don't benefit our family that much.
That's what it comes down to then.
And children. So I'm trying to be disciplined, but sometimes there is a time when I have to be on my phone for 2 hours in the evening, and what I'll do is I'll make sure I've got my blue light blocking glasses on, all my screen is dimmed, and then I'm just focusing on that work, because I can't do it in the day really because of looking after the children. But then I make sure I stop at least an hour before bed.
You hit the nail on the head though with saying like thinking about how you feel afterwards. So like, how does Mia do it as a young adult? Just by going through, because I mean we've all done it. We all like when you look at TikTok and maybe there's something that you want to look up, or like in our case maybe we're looking at how a piece of content was performing. And then obviously, or say you wanted to like look up something to do with someone told you about a meme or something.
Like our phones is
you
where
go
we
on
check
there,
banking
you go on
and
there,
everything,
and then
isn't
you
it?
just look at one thing, and before you know it, like, you've done this, so how does Mia as a young adult manage it? By assessing how she feels, or felt in this case, afterwards. So she went through the whole, like, really overusing TikTok, as like even adults have done as well.
Yeah.
And then just like, hang on, this is not bringing any, because I think realistically any of us with short form content, we actually feel a massive feeling of regret afterwards.
Yeah.
So tune into those feelings, actually acknowledge them, and just say, or keep a journal of it. Write down, like, for instance, in the evening, I like to write down the things that I'm proud of that day and the things that I'm not proud of and that I want to work on. And then that way, just by writing things down, you pay more attention to it, and then you can make more positive steps moving forward.
I think this is a major thing for nowadays, but I do feel like the future, like, I think phone use is going to be like this hygienic thing. Like, what is your hygiene use on it? Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's going to change, because I just think
it is changing. It definitely
it's
is
like making
already.
us not be human. Like, humans, we're meant to connect and look in each other's eyes, and it really makes me sad that we're like missing out on these like precious moments that we can never ever get back again. And like, something that I'm guilty of, something you're guilty of, like, or something that we all have to be consciously aware of. I want humanity to be like human again, and like, you know, it's upsetting.
I mean, we found it fun doing TikTok dances for a while, and then we're like, what are we actually contributing towards? And then we're just like, we just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, like,
it didn't actually feel like what it is when you observe other people on phones, then we're like, okay, that's not so good. So
I didn't want to contribute that too much, because I do think that like screens and like technology have some really good uses, and I think there's nothing wrong with sitting down, and like sometimes we might want some positive inspiration, like we'll watch a podcast, you know,
or to learn different things, or
you don't want to connect with other people, and I think that's fine, but it's just if you're doing it all the time to just kind of escape
especially
life.
the thing what we say about like bringing positive things into your life and remove negative things. If you don't have any positive people in your life, which we didn't, we had nobody to get inspiration from. I mean, to be honest, we barely do even nowadays. So it is done through a screen or done through like listening to audiobooks and getting that positive inspiration. So it has a really good use, but it's just making sure that you're on top of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if you can maybe download some videos and put it onto like a laptop or like an iPad, I think that's way better than looking at it on your phone as well. So you
can download them, and then so you can be in airplane mode as well. That's always what we do. Well, we use Ethernet anyway, but like so therefore we're not using Wi-Fi, but we download them and then we can watch them.
Because when you've got it like connected to online, and then you're going like that, you might get in like a bit of a rabbit hole, and I think it's good to be. You just have to be disciplined. Like, that's
on YouTube Premium, by the way, and that also then means you don't have any adverts either.
Yeah.
Are seed oils unhealthy? I've heard they are, but my parents say they aren't. P.S. Love you guys so much. Thanks, Willow.
Well, I think like fats have like gone, and oils have gone through such a journey, haven't they? Like, there was a time period like a couple of decades ago where everyone's like, fats are really bad, low fat diets, and I think loads of people now have like actually found out again, like, even though in the past people used to eat loads of fats, like they're good for you. But so there's nothing wrong with fats, but it's just that there's a lot of oils out there which are highly processed, like even the processing that they'll use chemicals like hexane to like separate all the oils, and they're just not good for you. So I
don't know a huge amount about it, to be honest, but
we first learned about it in 2019, didn't we?
Yeah, I started noticing different brands talk about it online, like gradually, and like the things to do with like whether they can be heated up and things like that. So we've kind of settled on, we use coconut oil.
Yep, extra virgin or
cooking,
olive oil.
Organic, and then we use olive oil to put on our food. Apparently avocado oil is okay as well, but we don't use that. We
just stick to those
Apparently macadamia oil is okay as well, but we don't use that. So we just stick to coconut oil and olive oil on the food.
So a lot of those oils that you see on the shelf, like classes like seed oils, like rapeseed oil and like sunflower seed oil, they're also, because they come from a seed, the nature of the oils in the seed, they can go rancid really quickly.
They cause inflammation in the body. The omega-3 to 6 ratio is off. So
and lots of like all the Mediterranean cultures, they live off olive oil, don't they? And they're some of the longest living cultures in the world. And then also coconut oil in some parts of the world where they consume loads of coconut oil, that they're extremely healthy.
When did you discover about manifestation, law of attraction, etc.? And what would you tell somebody who's trying to learn more about it and achieve their dreams? You guys are honestly such an inspiration for me. I'm glad I found you. Very early on, that like when we first got together, because we started reading personal development stuff, which kind of is that type of stuff anyway. You know, like the old-fashioned books, Think and Grow Rich, things like that. Like, they are basically about designing your ideal life, focusing on what you want, taking steps towards it, writing down your goals, visualizing things in your head. And so this is 2013, 2012. What would we recommend for somebody trying to learn more about it? Just to read those old-fashioned books.
Yeah, read it and just learn about it. But it's just it's more
Make
simple
a vision
than you
board,
think, really.
write your goals down. Honestly, there's an expression, write it down, make it happen, and I really believe that in terms of we only have so much attention, there's a lot of distractions all the time, so keeping your brain focused on what you want it to be focused on is so important. And so whatever way you want to look at that, whether you think there's some sort of woo-woo magic making it happen, or whether you're just like, well, no, I'm focused on what I want to happen, and I'm taking action steps towards it.
Well, the Mind Magic book that you just recently read says it's science more than magic.
It says they're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It is the same thing, because science is meant to be the pursuit of truth. It got a bit skewed at some stage where it's just like, what money is there to fund certain studies, to craft a specific outcome for a company which wants it to say that. But if you take it back to its original meaning of like the pursuit of truth, trying to figure out the reality, like what's going on, etc., this is the same thing, because it's kind of like quantum physics, and physics itself shows this type of stuff, that what we focus on, we do end up starting to create in our lives.
I think it's just having like self-belief in yourself as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can remember when I was younger and I was like a single mum with Mia.
Requires practice to do that.
And that is really, it requires practice. And also when a couple of good things start happening to you, then you're like, hang on a minute, like this actually is working.
You have to acknowledge them.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge.
We still to this day, we're like, I guess we're just going to have to like really think we got that because we focused on it. But still, it's because how things end up happening, you don't necessarily think that. So I don't really necessarily think it's like some far out magic. Like, for instance, I don't think you can just think, here's something I want, and I'm just going to sit here, do nothing, provide nothing for the world, and then somehow I'm going to get that thing I want. It doesn't happen that way. You have to do hard work. You still take action steps, and it's always an energy exchange. We made a whole video about this actually, of where we made our vision board, so you should go watch that video because we do explain everything in that. But it's always an energy exchange. It's always you actually doing something for the world, and then you will get, positive things come back your way as a result, won't you? What's the difference between tap water and spring water? Spring water is water as it is born, the way that the world, God, the universe, Mother Nature, infinite energy created it. And tap water is that same water, but which has gone through the system so many times. So it's gone in and out of people's bodies, it's been drank, urinated out into a toilet,
chemically treated.
It's had all of the birth control pills, all the different like medications what people are on goes out, and their urine goes in the toilet. Then it's treated with so many different chemicals to try to make it sanitized, but then the actual tap water that you end up drinking still has remnants of all of those different things, even things what have caused all sorts of crazy results in animals, like where the water goes out in rivers and things like that. So basically, if you want water where there's not going to be negative effects, any potentially negative effects, spring water. Otherwise, tap water potentially has negative effects to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate the taste of it and the smell of it. It makes me, it's disgusting.
How are you so motivated to stay active and eat healthy all the time? I guess we kind of touched on this one anyway,
sleep.
Really,
sleep is so important, because I can remember
sleep and positive influences.
I can remember I once shared a reel.
Focus on how things make you feel.
Of my meals one day, and then I was doing a workout, and then some people, everyone, like, I noticed a couple of people like, oh my goodness, like, you eat that, and like, you like strenuous workout, and I was like, that workout wasn't strenuous, and the meals that I ate like perfectly nourished my body. But I was just thinking, I was like, why did that person think that? And then I realized, of course, they might be really like sleep deprived. They might not get enough sleep. So
mindset
and
of course,
perception. My workout, to a person who isn't nourished properly and who's not had enough sleep, it's going to probably feel really like strenuous. But my energy levels are up here. Like, I don't have to eat loads and loads of snacks all throughout the day. I have like really like level blood sugar, stable blood sugar levels. I have really good like stamina, everything. Like, I don't, like, for me, my body doesn't need a lot of energy from food because I get it from Well, I eat a lot of food anyway, don't I? But what I'm saying is that, like, I get all of my energy from sleep. So I feel like once you've got sleep nailed, then the rest of the day will just feel so much more easy. Like eating healthy, like you're going to be attracted to healthy foods, because when you haven't had enough sleep, you're just going to crave junk food. You're going to crave salt and sugar, because your body's screaming out to get energy from somewhere else. Food is building blocks. Sleep is energy for your body. So that is why when you don't get enough sleep, eating healthy is hard work, and going to the gym is hard work, and then everything else. So
your perception, like, food is building blocks. Like, if you think about when I eat this biscuit, it quite literally is being used as the components to, like, the exchange of things in my body. Going back to the water one, actually, I think it was within 5 minutes of drinking water, that is becoming your blood. So it's like, what do you want to become your blood? Like, basically toilet water, or some clean water? Or do you want the parts of your body which are getting regenerated? Do you know the thing about how our cells are always recycled? And, like, I can't remember what the stats are, but it's like your liver is regenerate, like it's fully new after X amount of time. Your skin is fully new after X amount of time. Well, those building blocks come from the foods that you eat. So you obviously want them to be good. So I think how to stay motivated to stay active and eat healthy all the time, gradual progressional steps which give you a positive feedback loop. So, like, teaching yourself, I'm the type of person who goes for a walk in the morning, I'm the type of person who, and you set these small goals for yourself, and then when you keep checking off, like, log it all, like, wow, check me out, look at that, I've drank a glass of water every day for 7 days, and, like, you just start getting that positive reinforcement. And then you make the goals a little bit harder, because you've already proven to yourself that you're the type of person who is becoming better, and, like, you're identifying with a healthier future version of yourself rather than maybe a past version of yourself that wasn't.
But that is a good point, what you're kind of saying, like the building blocks. You become a new person, so over time that will like eating healthily and, like, moving more and exercising will become, like, second nature to you, because once you've stopped eating sugar, like sugary foods, all the cravings will go, all your gut microbiome will change. You'll become a new person.
That's a really good
that
point.
Will crave movement. You'll find, this is how I feel now, if I don't go for a walk one day, I'm craving going for that walk. Like, my body is screaming out to move because it has so much energy. Or, like, with healthy foods, I can't wait to tuck into, like, our stews and dinners, and I don't think about, like, sugary foods anymore, because I'm not in that cycle of sugar. Like, I've been there before, where I'd eat takeaways every night. I'd barely get any sleep. I'd fall asleep on the sofa, and it'd be like 1:30 in the morning. Then I'd wake up at 3 a.m, crawl back in bed, and I'd struggle to get up, and it'd be like 9 a.m. Like, I was in a really bad way. And when I met Darren, I was, like, really, really, like, out of balance. I was, like, really bloated. I was just, like, I was only, like, 22 or 23, and I couldn't even run to catch a bus. I had really bad energy levels, and it's because I was just feeding my body in all the wrong ways. But once I started getting healthily and moving and eating right and nourishing my body, I literally became a new person, and all my thought processes changed. I then started to become that person. Like,
you do start changing your thought processes.
So you will, like, everything changes. You become a new person. You have, like, you shed away all the old layers of you, quite literally, and you become a new person. And
the gut bacteria one is a really good point. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned that so far. It's like your gut bacteria, which has quite a big effect over the rest of your body. Even so, like, our happy hormone serotonin, I think it's 90 or 95%, something like that, is made in the gut. So think about that. Like, even in terms of your mood, your happy hormones come from this area, and obviously what you put in there is what nourishes that. And once your gut bacteria is all flourishing with good gut bacteria, then it is craving the good food. So I don't know, say, like, for instance, you eat celery, like, your gut bacteria will change so that it wants celery. Whereas if you keep drinking beer and eating biscuits, it is like saying, I want beer and biscuits. So I don't know why that example, but,
like, to begin with,
so you have to go through that transition of persevering with it, and then before you know it, what you thought was difficult actually becomes easy.
It does, it 100%. But then you'll start noticing, like, we've got to the point where we feel like we're at a really good level of health. But then if we start having late nights, or, like, say if I was to have another baby and then I was breastfeeding, we would start noticing getting harder again. So that's why we always bring it back to sleep, because everything feels easy when you've got that. But I think, like, when we said about mindset, did we have to work hard on it? Yes, we did, and I think that we always have to work on that. But when it does always feel quite difficult. I think trying to get your mind sorted out is the hardest thing in life. But with the health thing, I think once you've got it nailed and you become that healthy person, I don't think it's hard anymore. It actually feels effortless.
It's all about your perspective on things. Like, if you're going into it just thinking, oh, poor me, I've got to go through this horrible, grueling workout and things like that, like you're almost setting yourself up for failure. You need to think about the positive changes that you're making. Like, I guess we were just so sick of the state that we'd been in. Like, I guess you know that thing where people say, oh, you got hit rock bottom before. I'm not saying it was rock bottom, but I mean, by a lot of people's definitions it would be. But I'm not the type of person who says, oh, I had the worst situation in the whole world, because I am old enough and wise enough now to realise there are people who had infinitely worse situations.
Yeah.
However, I do think that there is a lot of truth to that expression. Like you've got to want it. Maybe when you do, you feel so low, you're like, I will not tolerate this anymore. I'm changing. This is it. It's over once and for all. And then, like, the whatever it is, oh, now I'm going to drink water instead of Coke. Now I'm going to eat a salad instead of a burger. Like, the things that maybe you thought, oh, they're so hard and horrible, you're probably like, there's no way I'm having that burger. I'm not having that Coke. That's not me anymore. Because you've had enough of how it makes you feel.
You sometimes hear these stories about people. It might be a person who's very, very obese, and they've suddenly realised that one day they're not able to move and they can't breathe. You know, like they can't run after their kids, and then that's their like aha moment. Or
so you got to have a why. That's what it comes down to. You need a why.
Or some people will unfortunately get a really like not a nice diagnosis, and that's when they'll start cleaning their life up and clearing out all the toxins and sorting themselves out. But for us, like, I don't want to get to one of those points for me.
No, but I guess it does actually, like, I guess, because all the changes, like, obviously I'd met Georgie and then found out she was pregnant with Sienna, and that was like,
that
okay,
was your moment,
but that was it for me. I'm like, wow, I'm going to be a dad. Like, I'm not going to be a loser dad. This is it. Literally stop drinking, stop smoking, stop everything immediately, because I was not going to do that cycle what basically had happened to me as a child. So I was going to change the course of history and not allow, like, this generational thing which happened. I wasn't going to be the one who was then a parent like that as well.
Yeah, and I think for me, I've always had this feeling in me that I've always known that I've wanted to have a really great life, and I always wanted to try all these things. I wanted to be like, one day I wanted to run a marathon and everything, and then I realised like I was starting to go downhill and I just didn't like it, and I was like, I don't want to waste my life away. So like for me, sometimes what scares me and motivates me is the idea of that I'm not going to be living an amazing life that I've told myself I'm going to live. So you've got to have something that kind of scares you out of doing the things. You've got to get to the point where working out doesn't feel horrible anymore. It's the thing that you might be missing out on that is scary.
Do you think it is possible to add your routine/lifestyle in a 45+ hours work week? So let's go over the things what are good for you. Sleep. It depends what else you're doing outside of work in terms of like the sleep that you get, like 45 hours plus. Is there also like an hour commute there, hour commute home, etc.? But you definitely want, like, for instance, you could do bulk meal prep. But I would say the main thing is notice the things which are not of benefit to you. So we all have 144 hours, is it, in a week? So someone I love online actually called Rob Deerdeck. He does the time design journal, I think he calls it, where you get those 144 hours and you basically write down. So for instance, you want to put 9 hours for sleep. So you're going to put all that, like 9 times 7, 63. Then you're going to take that off your 144. Then you're going to put your work in, and you just start slotting, and maybe how long it takes to get there, how long it takes to get back. Start slotting everything. And when you've made that plan, then like what was that statistic like? I'm sure this is the same for people in other parts of the world, by the way, but it's just I heard the statistic about the US where it's like 5 hours of TV a day on average. The average person's watching 5 hours of TV a day. I mean, 5 hours a day, and loads of us say we haven't got enough time to do things. 5 hours is unreal.
I think that there's definitely people short for time, but we definitely do have spare time because we're not working 24/7. Like for instance, obviously especially when Cara and Cam were younger, I couldn't even like move because they'd like cry and they'd like want breastfeeding the whole time. I was breastfeeding both of them. So I would just try and squeeze in, especially when Karma was a baby. I'd do the 10-minute kettlebell workout.
So do you think it's possible to add our routine lifestyle? Yeah, 100%. So you're going to focus on sleep, where you'll have to schedule that
10-minute workout a day.
Focus on healthy water, fruits and veg, and like plant-based foods. which I don't see that as taking more time.
Because we did work out as well.
Exercise
that
obviously
ordering
is
a
gonna
takeaway
take some
actually
time.
took longer or took the same amount of time as then making a healthy
But
meal.
look for things where
there are clever
look
hacks
for
you
things
can do.
like, for instance, I've got a standing desk, like, so I'm standing up rather than I'm sitting down. There's obviously this would cost some money, but some people would have a treadmill underneath their desk. I guess that's only if you work from home. But you can put a balance board, so you could get a balance board and have that where you have a standing desk at work, and then you're standing on a balance board like it's doing something else. Or if you can't stand, you can sit, and you sit on a gym ball rather than a seat, and then at least that's doing something for your core. So it's trying to implement as many things as you can. But I would say from the first thing I would do if I was in this position is I would do that writing down, subtracting times off my 144 hours a week, and seeing where my time's going. And then I think then we can all realise that we do have enough time.
But like I have actually, this is funny that you say this, but I have actually created everything that we do around having young babies. So, you know, my Instant Pot meals, that I've made it really so quick. They can be made really quick. And then also my workouts, every morning I do 10 minutes on the trampoline. I feel like you could be doing that while the kettle's boiling, or like, it's like instead of me
even like our, sorry to cut you off, but even our desserts, like the banana ice cream that we have, bulk make it takes 5 minutes to make it. When you guys have seen me do it in a blend it all up, put it in 3 jugs, and then you get one of the jugs out of the freezer, you put it in the machine, press the button, and it's turned into ice cream in 4 minutes.
But nothing that I do actually,
you can go off and do something else for the 4 minutes while it's doing that. But the thing is though,
if you're like looking at what I actually do in my day, nothing actually takes that long. My 10-minute biohacking routine, which I've shared on my Instagram, is me stand in front of the red light. I do my tongue and posture exercises. I might put on my toe expanders if I haven't done it in the morning, which is 10 minutes on the trampoline. And then I'm getting red light on me, and I body brush in front of it. And then I also will do sometimes do my coconut oil pulling. And then if you're commuting, you can listen to podcasts and motivational things while you're commuting, or you could do all of like your emails and like any planning that you need to do, so that when you get home you don't have to do that then. You can do that in the commute. Sometimes I do that while we're traveling. I'll do all my posting and planning and things like that. But so realistically, my biohacking red light routine takes 10 minutes because you can set it for 10 minutes. My trampoline workout in the morning takes 10 minutes. And when Karma was a baby in Koa, I would do, instead of going to the gym, I would do 3 times a week 10 minutes of kettlebell swings, which is a HIIT workout, and I got really, really good results from doing that because it boosts your hormones and your metabolism afterwards for hours after. It's way better than going for like a 30-minute jog or whatever. So there are loads of like time-saving hacks that exist out there, which actually people in the wellness space and biohacking space, they love doing because they're really busy as well. Like everyone has commitments in the days, especially mums, or you know, even people who work at home. Like you could easily stare at a computer all day until like, I don't know, 11 p.m. Like sometimes it does get to 9 and I'm like, Darren, like you've got to come to bed. We all have, like, I get it.
That's what I'm saying about how it goes in flows. So, sometimes I am on the computer till 11 o'clock.
But
like,
I don't know.
It's because something needs dealing
But these
with.
wellness things don't actually take up our whole day. They actually don't. They're just like little snippets in our day. But you've just got to get clever with like habit stacking.
I personally
and also,
feel
like, routine.
that the cycle that most of us end up in, and I was definitely guilty of this for a long time, is you feel so exhausted that then at the end of the day you're like, I just want to relax and just sit and watch something. And then the sitting and watching something turns into, I watched like half of a box set of something, you know, and now it's like midnight and I have to be up at, you know, a really early time in the morning. And then it kind of creates this constant cycle. And I think that's one of the main issues. So it's actually skipping that for one evening and just going to sleep early, and then probably having a lay in the next day, but then going to sleep early the next evening. And then, I don't know, however many evenings you've gone to sleep early for, then you're going to start waking up earlier. And then you're going to realise you've actually got this time in the morning to do productive things. And that then just creates this positive ripple effect, which goes on throughout the rest of the day.
Because I feel like, especially if you're doing a job that you don't enjoy that much, like you might want to come home and like decompress and unwind, and like you just have had a really stressful day. And I feel like I did used to sometimes feel like that when Kara and Karma were younger as well. Like there was a point where I didn't want to read in bed before. Because like the day was just them crying at me and just wanting to suck on my boobs
like you couldn't be bothered to read.
Yeah, they took it out of me. They took it out of me so much. Like I can remember, I just wanted to like zone out and watch something. But I feel like when you're going through that, you're right. You kind of have to like have a bit of an assessment and think, do I want to carry on doing this for my rest of my life, or am I going to try and break the
But
habit?
even so, like say like if it's a job that you don't enjoy, going back to the law of attraction stuff, I would really be thinking about what is it that you want to do that you would enjoy, and taking steps towards that. But then some of the steps towards that is, how can I make the job that I currently don't enjoy more joyful? How can I just give this my all? How can I be of service? Like, everyone's really miserable around me. I'm really going to try to counteract this, asking people things about their lives. Like, I'm going to, you know, Jane and Susan and Tom and Derek at work are just so miserable, or whatever it is, or angry or something. I'm going to ask them questions about their hobbies. I'm going to really try to integrate into that and try to make it a nicer environment as a stepping stone towards me doing the things that I would prefer to do rather than this. I don't know, you're currently doing graphic design and you would rather be a bus driver, yeah? Like, just make your graphic design environment nicer as part of the stepping stones to becoming a bus driver, and then that way I feel like you're going to feel more positive as a person to then be able to actually reach where you're trying to reach anyway. You could even change the culture
at work, that people then want to be more into fitness and wellness at work, because there are some workspaces where they try and incorporate wellness into the workspace, especially like in offices, and they might like put more plants into the rooms. They might encourage everyone to have like a little bit of a break and do yoga in the workplace. Like, you could try and initiate that at work as well, because I think that might be good. Or like everybody goes and like everybody has like on Fridays, like you'd go for a run after work together or something, instead of going to, like, because I know in London when we were there, we noticed loads of office workers would just be stuck in under the strip lights, not have a nice time, and they'd all want to go to the pub after. But you could try and initiate, I know, instead of us all going drinking after work, not that I'm saying you're into drinking after work, but like you could go for like a running club or something like that. There is ways of getting around it.
Otherwise, like, you know, the getting rid of negatives and bringing in positives, ultimately, if I was in that situation, I'd just be like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go home and just do my like wellness routine and start working towards where I want to go to. I think that's
because when I was doing my uni
important.
course, I can remember that everybody would just be eating loads of junk food, and after I had Sienna, I got into healthy eating and we went vegan, and then I'd start bringing my own lunches into work. And I mean, that's really good. Always well, it was a uni, wasn't it? It was a uni course at college. And then I would...
Because you said at work.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Other people were noticing what I was eating and asking questions, and then they would start bringing healthy food in, and then everybody started doing that. So that is another good way to incorporate it into work, is make sure that you always bring healthy snacks at work, and that's you're not tempted by the vending machine. Because I went through a phase before Sienna was born where I would just be going to the vending machine all day, and then once I started bringing healthy snacks into college or uni, then you
encouraged other people,
and then I was it, because everybody around me was just eating loads of candy bars, and I succumbed to it. And then so there are definitely, you can change what it's like at work as well, I think.
I want to try and be more healthy, but I have a big sweet tooth. Any recommendations? 100%. Let's see if we say the same thing. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Dates.
Bejeweled dates.
Dates.
We said the same thing.
We thought that episode. It's the best.
I wanted to see if you'd say it as well.
It's so good if you've got a sweet craving.
Oh my goodness, they're so sweet.
Yeah.
So satisfying.
Yeah.
So, like, they are so sweet.
Oh, I want one
Honestly,
now.
I challenge you to eat 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Nature's candy.
If I'm really pushing it, like, I'll eat 3 and I'm like, whoa,
they're amazing.
That's really, like, gave me what I was looking for.
They're full of fibre, they're loads of vitamins and minerals, and natural sugar is great for your blood sugar levels, and it like helps your digestion. It's just amazing. And usually I find when I'm craving sugar, it's because it's coming up to my period, or I haven't had enough sleep, or I'm really stressed. So if you do get those cravings for that, medjool dates are amazing.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes other dried fruits can be good, but I feel like medjool dates are still really moist, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the best thing. Yeah.
I just love that they're good for you.
I can't believe they exist.
And taste amazing.
I know, I can't believe a fruit like that has been made in the universe.
I love how your family is super fit, and I'm starting to go to the gym. Any tips on newbies? Love from Singapore. Thank you.
I think like just kind of go around and have fun at the gym, like experiment with equipment, and don't be afraid to ask like somebody who works at the gym how to use it, or like observe what other people are doing. I sometimes, when I go into a new gym, I like looking at how other people are using the equipment and how they're able to do something, like look around and observe.
I would maybe watch some YouTube videos about it, but then also I would just use the machines rather than free weights, just so you're like getting started where there's not any chance of things going wrong. And then I just think about number one, I guess what you want to work on. But if you just want to do your whole body, then I'd think about the planes of movement. So as in, you're pushing something up, and then you're pulling up, you're pushing something forwards, you're pulling something towards you, and then like you're doing your legs one way and you're doing your legs the other way. So like a leg extension and a leg curl.
Yeah, like
and
opposites.
then you're kind of covering your whole body.
Yeah, so when I go to the gym, I don't actually use any of the cardio machines. My cardio is walking to the gym and back. If you can't walk to the gym and back, then maybe you could do like, if you've got time, like 10 minutes walking on the treadmill to warm up. But I actually found that I've got better results in terms of like my fitness goals of building some lean muscle and looking leaner by actually lifting weights. So, and it's really empowering. It's fun. Once you get into it, then you'll start loving it. And there are actually loads of accounts you can follow online of other girls who go to the gym. There'll be newbies, there'll be girls who are really advanced and they're like, wow, look at them, like they've got the most massive muscles ever. There's like all different types of fitness influence out there. Or also I share things as well. But I think it's like go into it and have fun. And everybody in the gym is in there to work out and have a good time, like to work on themselves. Nobody's looking at you or judging you. I think when you first go to the gym,
one of the biggest misconceptions about
and
gym.
actually the people who...
Do you know what this is? Sorry to cut you off again, but I think this is something in general. Happy and successful people are supportive of others. Anybody who like criticizes or says horrible things is because they're not feeling happy and successful. So people in the gym are there to get fitter, stronger, and feel better about themselves. So they're really supportive of anybody else who has that same goal. So the second anyone else walks in the door, you have this feeling of you just feel proud of them. Like everybody sort of has this mutual respect where they all feel proud of each other because you're choosing to do something. Like instead of sitting on the sofa and eating cookies and watching TV, you're actually going and bettering yourself. So I think there's a huge mutual respect. Even, you know, like from the hugest bodybuilders to the like really skinny endurance runners to whatever, everybody has a mutual respect of each other, don't they?
When we went to the David Lloyd gym in London, we'd always see the same man there every week. And we'd always say like hello to each other. He was so nice. And then when I go the gym we go to now, I'll walk in the change rooms and there'll be like where we live here in Spain, there's some like proper fitness bunnies everywhere, and I'll go in and they'll smile at me, but hi, and they're really nice. Like everyone's really supportive. I feel like if you feel really stuck in the gym, you could potentially pay for even one PT lesson if you really want someone to take you around and show you all how it works, and then after that you can like ask them to sort of have a workout plan for you and you can stick to that. Like that is a good thing if you feel really stuck. But like I went and like I'm self-taught at the gym, to be honest, and you kind of work out what feels good for your body.
How do you find a balance between taking care of your health and it becoming obsessive?
I mean, I feel like taking care of your health doesn't need to even be something that you're always like thinking of.
I don't think there is like a balance with that. I don't think taking care of your health is obsessive. I
mean, it depends. Like if you're like kind of prone to being like,
it's about standards. It's just like I always say this actually because I love how the regard that people have for their things and for animals versus themselves. For instance, the man in his 40s, let's say me, the man in his 40s, you know, he buys himself a sports car and is out there polishing it every day and he loves the sports car so much, but yet he doesn't treat his own body with care. The lady taking her children to feed the ducks at the park, they're feeding them bread, and somebody else, especially we've noticed this on social media because like everybody loves to criticize people on social media, so it's like, oh, the poor ducks, they shouldn't be fed bread, it's really bad for them. Why do no humans have that same level of like respect and love for themselves? So why don't we love ourselves as much as we love dogs, as much as we love ducks, as much as we love our classic cars, as much as we cherish our phones? Like, oh my goodness, it just banged on something, my poor phone, is it okay? Like, love yourself.
But
and that's
I
what
think
it comes down to.
Healthy living is like a joy to live. You feel amazing. You're just, everything feels effortless in your life. Being unhealthy feels difficult. Like being unhealthy, having low energy, your life is a struggle. Like,
and getting ill frequently.
Now I get in some extreme rare cases, there might be some people who have mental health issues and they might become obsessive. I don't know, somebody might be running all day. Like we used to see a lady in the park. Every time we went to the park, there'd be one lady running.
Did, yeah.
But that obviously
She
isn't
was
right. But that's not an issue to do with
ridiculously
health.
skinny, and
Running,
I felt very sad for her. There was obviously something happening.
Or there might be some men who are bodybuilders and they're really, I mean, that isn't health anyway. It's fitness and health aren't actually the same thing. Like you could be really fit, but it doesn't mean you're healthy.
Yeah.
You know, like athletes, they're like training all day. Their whole life is about that. That is obsessive, and they have to be to get the best in their game. Like healthy living.
So maybe it comes back to the other thing then, which is like assess how things make you feel. What does it say?
Well,
sorry, I have to put your code in to be able to see it.
do you want me to do it? Do you know my code?
Hang on, try Face ID.
That's because
There we go.
you got it there.
So how do you find a balance between taking care of your health and it becoming obsessive? So I guess it's going to come back to the thing of like assess how things make you feel afterwards. How does the takeaway make you feel afterwards? How does staying up late watching a box set make you feel afterwards? So it'd be like, I guess if we're saying obsessive, how does going out for a 5-hour run every day make me feel? Like
rubbish.
Yeah. You're going to be like, hang on, I don't feel good.
And just because you're into healthy living doesn't mean you go and have fun. Like, say, for instance, we're on holiday, and then sometimes we might get an ice cream with like sugar in it. We might get that, and we're not like freaking out about it. I think there's just some people that perhaps have like compulsive disorders, and where they're like really freak out. But I feel like we've got to the point now that in our life, like every thing just feels so amazing. It flows right. I feel like we're in alignment with where we want to be.
Well, we're 13 and a bit years into this.
Yeah, and it feels good.
And we've done the being really healthy at the beginning, and then just like being like, oh no, we're balanced, and you know, we eat this junk food as well, and we didn't feel good as a result. So things started going down, and so we're ultimately doing what makes us feel good. So I think like
do you know what? You have to get in the head of other people.
Yeah.
No, for instance,
but again,
when
also your perspective. It's like, how do you view it as a lack? Or do you view it as abundance?
Like we don't think, like, you know, when we say like we don't want to eat sugar, it's not that we're depriving of ourselves of it. We feel like
we've got standards.
It's not like when we eat dates, we're not crying because we're not thinking, oh, we've got to eat this date. I love it. Like, I love our life. Like, I love being healthy. Like, it feels so good. I'm not thinking about the other thing. It's like when you're in a relationship with someone, I'm not like thinking, oh no, like I'm not having, like, I can't like flirt with other men, or I can't like I want Darren and I don't want anyone else.
All right, calm down.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's perspective. I got really into running and I was enjoying it, and it served me so well. But after 3 years, it did get to the point where I realised it wasn't for me anymore.
And we read Body by Science.
Yeah,
and then, learned all the negative effects that running can have
all
in
the
the
training
long run.
and stuff. And then you said to me, Georgie, I don't think it's good for you or the family anymore that you're doing all of this running. And I did stop doing it, and then I moved on to doing something else. And I did used to also do bikini competitions. And then after doing that for a year, I realised that actually wasn't serving me anymore. But those two things aren't actually technically healthy living, like marathon running and like bodybuilding bikini competitions. They're not actually like living a balanced life. They are extremes, aren't they? Like pushing yourself. So I think people got like, so if you're talking about like how to not get obsessed about fitness, we actually have worked out some really good fitness routines. Like, I only go to the gym 2 days a week, and sometimes I'll only go one if I'm feeling like it's too much,
or if we've travelled.
And I basically don't, apart from 10 minutes on the trampoline, I only go to the gym 2 times a week. That is for like a person who's like a health influencer. That's barely anything. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I see all these girls online and they're going 5-6 days a week. I'm like, am I even like a gym person? Do you know what I mean?
I know,
like,
but we've assessed what is a good balance for us, or and you. I feel like realistically, like Georgie can train legs way more often than what I can.
Yeah. Also, like obsession. You could also, there's 2 ways of wording it: passion or obsession. Now, some people might think obsession is a negative word, but I think I am really passionate, and in a way I am obsessed with health and fitness. I love it. I love reading books about it.
No, but they're saying it again, perception, they're saying it from a negative way though.
Yeah, but you could also switch it. Like, I love it. And also it is also
it's being obsessed then with loving yourself. It's holding really high standards for yourself.
Like, I enjoy that.
It's the same standard as those ducks not having the bread. It's the same standards as the guy polishing his precious piece of metal. This is like the priceless mind and body that we've been gifted with.
And I
So
think in a
therefore
way,
we're treating it that
I feel
way.
like we're kind of going through a thought process here. I actually think in a way you kind of do need to get a tiny bit obsessed to make it stick. Like you have,
Well, it's just
like
loving
when you
yourself.
first start
You
getting,
don't need. I think obsessive is going to be used negatively. I think it's just respecting and loving yourself,
But, like-
and being grateful for the body that you have. That's
But have
it.
you ever met somebody before and they've just first found out about weightlifting or they first found out like about eating plant-based? They can't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Like initially, you will feel
When
like
you're excited about things,
because
yeah.
it makes you feel good. You've changed your life. Like you're like, wow, I've just discovered this thing. Like I can't believe
Mm-hmm.
it. Like wow, like it's amazing. Like in a way, you will feel really passionate about it. Like every day, like I'm like, oh. I can't wait to make this reels and show people about this new thing I learned. I can't wait to tell people about papaya. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like I don't think it's an unhealthy thing that I
Yeah.
feel like this energy, like this life force in me. Like it's I enjoy it. Like if I discover a new type of workout, or like I go up to him like, Darren, guess what? I just found out this other new move that you can do for your glutes where you just sat down and then you go like that. Like
Yeah.
I always come up to him like, Darren, I just found out about this new thing.
Yeah,
Brett
yeah.
says that you can do this, or there's a new study that hip thrusts are better than, and then I come running up to you with like childlike enthusiasm.
Yeah, because you want the best for me and the best for you.
And it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like I think in a way you should approach like fitness and health in a fun, childlike way. But if it's starting to make you feel miserable, maybe you are overdoing it a little bit in terms of exercise, or maybe you are like not finding ways to make it enjoyable.
I mean,
like,
our number one exercise is walking.
yeah.
So
You
that's
can't go wrong with that.
something that we figured out.
And then find meals that you really genuinely look forward to.
Noticing how it makes us feel.
And you never have
So
to.
like in comparison to running made us feel more stressed, more hungry, more tired, irritable. Whereas walking, we haven't really noticed any negative
Can't
effects
go wrong with
from
walking.
it. No.
And then in terms of food, if you're worried about it might feel like you're deprived, like make sure that all your meals are so amazing that you look forward to it. Like all
and
the
eat a lot.
all
eat
the meals
loads.
at the
We always say
weekends.
this. Like if we go into like some nice, I don't know, like a yoga cafe or something like this where they've got really healthy food, but the portions are always tiny and we're
Yeah.
literally like, what is this? Not we don't
Even
say
Palmer
it,
and
but
Sierra
as in
said
like
it.
we're saying it to each other. Like how can anyone live off this? If you eat plant-based, you have to eat massive volumes of food.
Yeah. Like I think get excited about all the foods and the meals that you're preparing, and like make really nice plant-based desserts that are just so like always have like a big box of dates in the fridge and nut butter to dunk it into. Like
Karma and Co always sing, food is building blocks.
Yeah.
Food is building
like
blocks.
at the
just
weekends also
think about
I
that.
always say to the girls, because we have 2 meals during the week which I've like created, which are actually really easy to make but also really tasty, plus also cover all the nutrients. But then at the weekend we have some off-plan meals, and I was like to the girls like, what do you want me to make? And they're like, oh, can we have curry? And then I'll make a new curry, and we're just all tucking into it, and it's amazing. We're not thinking oh we can't have a takeaway. Like we don't want a takeaway.
No, we
want
none of
my
us
meal.
do.
Like make your life.
But this is
like,
a process. So we've been through the years of takeaway. Even
Yeah.
after like we became vegan, we ate takeaways for years, and we've now got to a point of where we just don't want them anymore.
yeah, like
So it's perspective, it's trial and error,
and gratitude.
it's gratitude,
Yeah.
it's being respectful and loving to your own mind and body, and it's logging how things make you feel in the
and
long
having
run.
high standards. I like that you said
Yeah.
that. Like always have high standards for everything in
Right,
your life.
sunset. We only got halfway
Oh yeah,
through.
I feel like we could have
Sunset,
talked
we've
for
spoken
hours.
for over an hour, and we only
Wow.
got halfway through.
I'm actually quite
even just the
cold now.
questions that Georgie chose. You gave us hundreds of questions. I think you chose about 30 or
I
something.
feel like this is the most fun Q&A we've ever
So therefore,
done.
we're going to leave it there, and we'll have to do another one. But thank you all
Yeah,
for your
thank you
questions.
so much.
Really nice to get to just share these thoughts with you guys. Those of you who want to listen to it and want to implement things in your own life, it feels nice for us to get to pay it forwards.
Feels like the old
things
days
that-
as well, a bit like vegan fitness.
the things that we've figured out and what have worked for us, but ultimately do what works for you, do what's best for your family. We're
Yeah.
doing what's best for our family, and it's just like you
Find
write
your own rhythm.
you write things down and see what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
see
you
you
so
next
much.
time.
We love you guys.
Take care, bye.